Today, we are going to be talking about a question I get a lot on the socials, and that is, what is the best electric violin for beginners? It's a great question, but I think there's a premise here. I want to point out that instruments are not built for skill levels. It's not like you can only have this one once you've practiced 1,000 hours. Until then, you must play on this one. So they're not built for skill levels. I would say get the features you need in the budget range that you have. Electric violins have a lot of different features, and we're going to talk about those. I will say that if you are a beginning violinist or you're fairly new to this, you should probably stick to 4 strings. We've got violins in 5, 6, and 7 strings. If you're fairly new to this, 4 is plenty. I would say that's the advice I have on that. There are sort of 2 ways to look at that question, though. If you're a beginning violinist, are you new to violin totally, or are you new to electric violin? Most of our customers are people who already play the violin, but they're exploring the world of amplification. It is possible to start on the electric violin. A lot of teachers will not recommend that, but it sort of depends on what you want to do with the instrument. If you want to play solely electric, you're not interested in learning on an acoustic, you don't care about playing classical music, you don't want to be in an orchestra, you only want to play electric, well, then get an electric and learn how to play on it. If you're interested in playing in an orchestra, if you're interested in doing classical music, I would suggest getting something that has some acoustic qualities to it. So we will get into that. There are sort of a list of questions that I have for people when they want to get a violin, and this is sort of where I start. What's your budget? Is this something that you want to perform on or just practice on, or both? How many strings do you want? Are you looking for a solid body or an acoustic electric? And then let's talk about what other features you might need. So we're going to just start breaking down these things. First thing with the budget, I got to let you know that instruments, pro-level instruments, or I wouldn't even say pro-level, like an instrument that you can play, they start around $600. You can find them for $100 or $200 on eBay. They're garbage. A lot of them won't even work when you get them. They're not set up to play well. String spacings are all crazy and string heights are ridiculous. The strings, you'll definitely have to replace the strings. You'll probably have to have a luthier set it up. There are actually reports of these things catching on fire. Just, you know what? Start with one about $600. Bows, a decent bow is going to start around $100, and a decent amp is going to start around $200. So right there, you're looking sort of $900 for a basic package instrument, bow, amp. And just be aware that with some violins, the case is not necessarily included. So that's going to give you an idea of maybe where your budget needs to be. Instrument, bow, amp. We can certainly do that for under $1,000. I wouldn't be looking at a package that's much less than that, though. You're going to be struggling with quality of the instrument. As you go up in price, you get better quality. You get better craftsmanship. You get better materials of construction. You get some better features. And then, to my ear, the sound quality does go up as your budget goes up. That's a purely subjective thing. But if you have a bigger budget than $1,000, you can actually put that budget to good use and you can get better quality stuff. But I will say for around $1,000, you can get an excellent kit. And there are professional level players out there playing on kits that are around $1,000. So that's that information. If you're interested in mostly practice, this is the thing where you are an acoustic violinist, but maybe you live in an apartment and you want to be able to do some silent practice, or you travel a lot and you don't want to take your really expensive instrument with you. You want to take something with you that you can use for practice. Your electric violin is mostly going to be a practice instrument. You're going to want 4 strings, just like your acoustic. You're going to want probably a changeable chin rest so that it feels like your acoustic. You want to be able to use your own shoulder rest. You want a full upper bout, and the upper bout is this piece right here, this full upper bout. So when you're playing, your hand does hit that, and you still have to work around it to reach higher positions so that it functions like your acoustic does. You want to have you want it to be easy to plug a headphone into, and you want it to be lightweight. Let's put this back. So that criteria, if we look over on the left-hand side of the screen, 4 strings, changeable chin rest, shoulder rest, full upper bout, easy to use headphone practice, fairly lightweight, and very quiet. Okay, so because if you're doing silent practice, those are the things you want. On the right-hand side of the screen, those are the instruments that we carry that fit all of those criteria. And I'm not going to stay on these pages super long, so you may want to screenshot these. The next one, these are the instruments that we carry that fit 6 of those 7 criteria, and the number next to that is the criteria that that instrument does not have. Again, moving on, so you might want to screenshot this. And the ones on the right side here are the instruments that meet 5 out of those 7 criteria, and the number, of course, tells you what that criteria is that the instrument does not meet. All right, so if you're wanting to do practice and performance, then you're going to be interested in knowing what the sound quality is of that instrument. You're going to want to know whether you want passive or active. You want to know if you want to be wireless, it's going to have to be an instrument that's wireless compatible. Shape and color. Think about the fact that when you are on stage, the look of that instrument is going to become part of your trademark. I would suggest going to our YouTube channel and looking at the reviews that we do by price range. And I put up a link right there for you. So if you're asking yourself, do I want a 4-string or a 5-string? I've always been interested in this question. I'm not sure which one. Ask yourself, what do you mostly play? Are you mostly playing classical, pre-written sheet music type stuff? Or are you doing improv? If you're mostly playing sheet music and you're a stick to the page kind of player, 5 strings probably just going to be in the way for you. If you're an improviser, 5-string is really nice. Having that extended range is really handy. If you are like a lot of people who play both the violin and the viola, it's really nice to have both of those in one instrument. So you don't have to take a viola with you and take a violin with you. You can take your 5-string violin with you, and you can work violin and viola jobs with that same instrument. It's a fairly minor adjustment to go from a 4 to a 5. If you've been playing a 4 your whole life, going to a 5 is not that big a deal. The string spacing is generally a little bit tighter. The neck width is a little bit wider. Your angles with your right hand are going to be a little bit tighter, but not a whole lot. And generally, I would say within about 10 hours of practice time, you should be fairly comfortable on a 5-string. Asking yourself whether you want a solid body or an acoustic electric, you got to ask yourself, do I want the ability to do silent practice? Obviously, an acoustic electric cannot do that. An acoustic electric, in case you didn't know, is an acoustic violin with some electronics built right into it. So it can function as an acoustic violin, and you can plug it in. Would you like the ability to perform without necessarily needing an amplifier? If you have a solid body instrument, if you don't have an amp, you're not performing. If you've got an acoustic electric and you need to go play a dinner party somewhere where they want a strolling violinist, and you know what, I'll just use this as an acoustic violin, an acoustic electric can work just fine for that. And you have to ask yourself, how much feedback resistance do I need? If you're playing in a really loud band where feedback is a problem, the solid body is probably going to be better for you. So that's kind of a decision-making matrix to help you figure out if you want a solid body or an acoustic electric. So back to our criteria again: budget, performing or practicing, number of strings, do I need a solid body or an acoustic electric? There's some other features too, like active or passive. We've got some other videos that might help you figure out whether you want your violin to have a battery in it and a preamp in it. Some violins have headphone jacks in them. Some have geared tuners. There's colors and shapes. All of this kind of stuff is in our reviews that are on YouTube. Once you've sort of worked down that matrix, your decisions have been narrowed way down, and the decision's pretty much made. So if you need help with this, you can call us. Phone number's on the screen. You can email us, info@electricviolinshop.com. You can hit us up on the socials. All that kind of stuff is easy to do, and we are happy to talk you through that decision-making process. So, as always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out some other videos we've got, and we will see you next time.